Hello everybody. This video is going to orient you to the course project, which also leads to what I'm calling in quotes your final exam. So let me go to that and explain that to you. So I think a picture's worth 1,000 words, so I made a little diagram that I'm going to use to explain this. So right now we're going to be starting Module 2, and that's when you're going to be starting the first phase of your community needs assessment. And everybody in the class is going to be doing that, and I'm going to explain more about that in just a moment. Then during Module 3, which is a 3-week module, you're going to be working on a nutrition education project. Ideally, it should be on a similar population to the population that's in your community needs assessment, but that does not have to necessarily be so. It's up to you. Everybody, again, is going to at least design a nutrition education project. And then during modules 3 and 4, you're going to have the opportunity to either finish up your community needs assessment by gathering some original data of your own, or actually carrying out your nutrition education project. And then during Module 6, you're going to present either your final community needs assessment or your nutrition education project during a PowerPoint presentation to the class, or you can do that in the form of a report or a GEM, a great educational material, which is one of the types of articles that are published in the Journal of Nutrition Education and Behavior. So there are written directions that explain this all above. And then you can see this folder has 3 different modules. The first one is for the first phase of the Community Needs Assessment Project. The second folder is for the first phase of the Nutrition Education Project. And then the last folder is phase 2, which gives you the directions to either carry out the Community Needs Assessment or the Nutrition Education Project and how to do that presentation. So for this video, I'm going to just focus on the Community Needs Assessment Project, Phase 1. So here's the assignment that you need to complete to do your Community Needs Assessment, Phase number 1. And there is a rubric that shows you that it's worth 100 points. So please be sure to click there and look at the rubric because that has my expectations. So you're going to download an attached workbook and use the workbook to complete the Community Needs Assessment report. And once you've completed the report, you'll upload it to this Dropbox using the Browse My Computer button down here. There is an entire workbook here, but it's going to show you how to generate an actual report. I'll show you that in a second, what the outline is for the report. So in the end, you may have 2 documents. One's going to be your report, that's the thing that's going to be graded. The other thing would be your completed workbook. So if you would like to upload that as well, you can also upload that using the Browse My Computer button, but I'm not going to be grading the entire workbook. I'll just look at it and see what progress you made in completing the workbook, but I will be grading the report. So this is where you can click and download the workbook, and then it just says this is going to get submitted to Safe Assign. So I think that's all there. Once you have it uploaded and at least one of the documents uploaded, then you can hit submit. But I'm going to hit cancel because I'm not submitting anything at this point. The objectives are here. I'll let you read those. You're meeting both ASCEND and CEEF objectives. And here is the outline for your final report. So your report's going to have a title, the lead organization. If you have that, it might just be a particular community, maybe the place where you're working. It could be really anything. It's really open and up to you. You'll have the focus of the assessment. This will be like kind of a brief introduction with some citations. Then you're going to be going through, and there's a page in your textbook that has a lot of this information, the definition of the community very briefly, the purpose of the assessment, who's the exact target population. You'll have goals for your assessment and objectives, and I have very specific directions for writing objectives that are measurable so you can learn about that. So that's in the workbook, that's part of it. And there's also a link over here for writing goals and objectives. So be sure to look at that because it'll help your grade. And then you're just going to brainstorm the types of data that you need. Community data, community environment and background factors, and then target population data. And then finally, you're going to collect some of that data. So you're going to be collecting community data, collecting community environment and background factors information, and then if you want to, you'll be collecting target population data. Now, collecting target population data is really going to be the gist of doing the community nutrition project phase number 2. And then references will be included, so you should have your citations. So the grading is going to be based on the different steps that we're going to be using. So we're going to be going through steps 1, 2, and 3 of community assessment, and then there'll be some grading for your references and for your also for your writing, grammar, spelling, and organization. So the whole thing is worth 100 points. And here's the rubric. You'd want to pay attention to what the exceptional category has in it because that would give you the most points. And this section right here is very important. It's in your workbook as well, but here it has all the hot links. So these are all different types of tools that allow you to collect data about a community or a population. So some of these may have state data, it may have community data. It just depends on what your needs are. So I'd like you to use at least 10 of these to write up your report. I encourage you to use actually 15. That's how you'd get exceptional. So go into here and try to find out information about your the community that you're assessing. And here's the section about writing goals and writing objectives. So this just gives you kind of in a nutshell what that's all about. And then there's a link here to get you back to Module 2, which is where the directions are going to point you at when you're actually in Module 2 to get this done. So here's the Module 2 section, and you'll see that there's a link here to the Community Needs Assessment Phase 1, and this, if you click here, will get you back to that same folder over here. So you can get to the assignment for this chapter by going to the Community Needs Assessment Phase 2, or you can go from over here in the course project and then clicking down here to Community Needs Assessment Phase 1. All right, so let me just open up the workbook just for a second. Okay, so you can see that this Community Needs Assessment is a Word document, and I would just like you to go through step by step and fill it out. So there's an introduction and the objectives, and anytime you see a grade in box, that means that that part is going to go into your report that you're going to be graded on. So this first section is just getting you started. It tells you what activities you're going to be doing and has a worksheet to identify the focus of your assessment. So you can just go through and type in and fill this out. Don't worry if the formatting gets changed. And then you can see here that the lead organization is going to be there. It may be a hospital, local hospital, or a volunteer organization. So it doesn't need to be very much in that particular box. And then you're going to kind of draft what the main problem is going to be, because that's going to be your focus of your assessment. And then you'll go and move on to step number 1, which is setting the parameters. So again, just go through the workbook, pay attention to the grade boxes, because that's what you're going to be needing to actually write your report. So I'm going to scroll through this really quickly. Just again, there's going to be tables in here that you can just fill out information if it's important and you want to collect it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Sorry to be flipping through all this so quickly. So And then, yes, this is what I just want to show you. Again, this is what you're actually going to be using. So all those gray boxes will then fill in to be the title and lead organization, etc., all the different sections of your final report. And then there's the writing goals and objectives appendix here. And again, all of those URL addresses, same ones that are online. And then there is a sample community needs assessment here. So this might be something that might be helpful to you to just go ahead and look at. Okay, so I guess mostly right now you probably have a lot of questions. At this point, just try to keep things simple. Try to think of a project that you want to work on or a group of people that you'd like to find out more nutrition information about and use that as your focus. Try to keep it as simple as possible. Don't try to do anything too complex or ambitious at this point because you only have a couple of weeks. A normal community needs assessment is going to probably take months to do. So you're just going to try to go through the main basic steps just so you know what that's all about. So then if you want to do another more thorough community needs assessment in the future, you'll at least gotten your feet wet.